Greetings, folks. Iolair here. Today's replay features myself in the tier-VI Royal Navy light cruiser HMS Leander. I'm in a division with Jimmy Jazz, who is sailing the premium tier-VI German destroyer T-61, and we are in a tier-VIII domination match here on Trap with one tier-VI carrier per team. My build is typical for a Royal Navy light cruiser with a set of 4 base skills. I do now like taking the main battery modification 2 upgrade in slot 3 for a lot of cruisers, since it no longer has a reload penalty. Taking this upgrade reduces the urge to pick up expert marksman on some of these ships, including the very maneuverable Royal Navy light cruisers, since they can quite easily outturn their turrets. I like being able to take those 2 skill points that I would put to expert marksman and apply them to other skills. Moreover, cruisers tend to have pretty decent base dispersion, so I feel it's not very critical to take aiming systems modification 1. Now, this is the second match I had in the Leander as part of resetting the Royal Navy light cruiser line. So Jimmy Jazz and I have gotten contested here at Bravo, so we know one of the destroyers is here. He and I are going to split up and try to pincer this destroyer. So why am I resetting the line? Well, I'm taking advantage of an offer from Wargaming that doubles Research Bureau points for resetting a tech tree line right now. Ooh, there is the Kagero. I'm going to pop my Hydro here, and hopefully, yes, I do, and try to take down this destroyer. Now, I thought to take advantage of the offer since I am at 50,000 Research Bureau points, and completing another regrind would get me to 70,000, and that's obviously enough for me to pick up either the Ohio or the Colbert. Second salvo out, take out most of the rest of the Kagero. One more salvo. You can see I keep panning back here because I'm getting targeted by more than just the Kagero. Well, I'm looking for a salvo from the battleships. Here come the torpedoes from the Kagero, and thanks to the very good maneuverability, miss a salvo from the battleship, and I'm also able to miss the torpedoes, and thanks to the smoke screen, we're back into concealment. So if you want to know more about details of the Research Bureau, the effects of resetting a line, benefits of the Bureau, and so on, check out the article on the Research Bureau in the World of Warships Wiki. I'll leave a link to that article in the video description. Now, my choice to regrind the Royal Navy light cruisers was the result of a poll I posted to my Facebook group. I wanted to ask them which line they thought I should reset, and the majority voted for this line. Now, I did move through tiers 1 through 4 in single games each, and it took me 3 games to get through the Emerald. I am using free XP to skip stock modules, and I am taking advantage of my pretty sizable stock of economic and special signals to accelerate my progress. Nice, Jimmy is going to get another torpedo on the Fuso, not quite enough to finish him off. I'm going to be calling target on him, but I'm going to realize that a little bit later that basically nobody has a shot on him, and now the Kagero smoke has expired, so I got to pop my own to avoid taking a salvo here, hopefully from one of these battleships. Okay, so it took me 6 battles to finish the grind through the Leander. Although, honestly, it probably could have been done in 4 or maybe even, I'm sorry, 5 or maybe even 4, had it not been for 2 terrible matches. So, the title of the video, High-Starch Diet, is a reflection of some gameplay that we will see from a number of players, both allied and opposing alike. I'm not going to make any personal disparaging comments or personally disparaging comments, since other than Jimmy Jazz, I don't know any of these players personally. But some of the actions exhibited in this game left Jimmy Jazz and me kind of scratching our heads a little bit, including the behavior of our Kagero and the fact that the Fuso and the Arizona weren't really trying to help back up the Kagero. Here comes the Jervis, as well as some torpedoes, a set of 3. So I think the Vesteros is to our to our west. And I get another salvo on the Jervis. Don't quite finish him off. Jimmy Jazz is going to go after the Jervis, and I'm in a little bit of a pickle here. So I've got the Nuremberg here to my 9 o'clock position, and with the island on my port side, it's going to be very hard for me to get a turnout here, and I am going to end up going broadside to the light cruiser. And obviously my familiarity with the Nuremberg, I know how potent these AP shells are going to be. He is firing AP. That previous salvo wasn't too bad. But here comes another salvo. Yeah, that almost certainly was a Citadel in there. I returned the favor with a Citadel, and my torpedoes look pretty good on the Nuremberg, and I am going to get my turnout here. I am being targeted by 4, take a little more chip damage, but I do take down the cruiser, and now I'm being targeted by just 1. Not sure who it is. I think it's the Dallas, who is over on the northeast side of Alpha. He takes a big hit. Yeah, he is the one that's shooting at me. I choose to open up here because once I realized it was him that was shooting at me, I felt that my salvo here was going to be safe. And I gave him a little too much lead. Oh, it does look like one of the battleships did fire on me, and it fired he fired high explosive, so I didn't take too much damage. And the Dallas is finished off. Nobody's targeting me right now, but I'm still detected. So it's either the Bismarck that's to my south, that's just barely within my range, or it's a destroyer. In fact, Jimmy Jazz has just pinged on the map based on his radio location where he thinks that destroyer might be. Yeah, the the Bismarck goes down. I was still detected briefly, so I'm going to ping on the map here approximately where I think the Westeros is, and in fact, he's just south of there. The Westeros has just entered the northeast corner of the Alpha Cap. So Jimmy Jazz and I have elected that we're going to head for Charlie. So one of the other player, or a couple of players that we were kind of confused by their behavior, is the Vladivostok that's in front of me, as well as our Cossack. So our Pensacola that is over on the 10 line, it's understandable why he's in that position. He wants to be in a protected position if he's going to be firing on the Pensacola. There's also a Bayern that's up on the Alpha line that looks like he might be coming around the corner. But most notably, there is a Bismarck last detected in that slot on the northeast side of Charlie. And again, this is a player whose behavior we were just kind of really confused by because we can't see him. It's the biggest ship in the map, other than maybe the Vladivostok and the other Bismarck that was on the opposing team. We can't see him. So we're going to get into this cap. We'll find out whether he's still there. We can't imagine, given his size and his speed, that he would have slipped out undetected. And yeah, he is still in that slot. We just got a very quick glimpse of him. I think our Cossack just got caught a view of him. Our Pensacola is actually doing a pretty good job getting some fire on the opposing Pensacola. Jimmy Jazz is pinging on the map because he wants our carrier to spot the Westeros. The Westeros is holding at bay 2 Bayerns and a Bismarck on our team from pushing into the Alpha Cap. One of those battleships obviously has hydro. Even if they were to take a couple of low alpha torpedoes from the Westeros, they would be able to finish him off in a hurry. So it's, again, some more behavior that we were just very confused by. The Westeros doesn't have smoke, so if he gets detected, he's going to remain detected in front of some very powerful battleships. The opposing Pensacola here that's up here at Charlie got into some cover briefly from our Pensacola, but I was able to get a shot in and finish him off. And here is that Bismarck that has been sitting in the slot here on the northeast side of Charlie. Very confused. Why is this player sitting here? Did he have a personal emergency and he had to stay in that position for a while so that he wouldn't compromise his team? We don't know. Maybe the player just likes being in that position. But he slipped backwards and is now headed back forwards. And in fact, Jimmy Jazz is pinging on the map on our Vladivostok because why didn't our Vladivostok come into the cap and challenge the Bismarck? Bismarck has just slid forward here a little bit of that slot. We do lose one of our 2 Bayerns that was down at Alpha, probably from fire between the Westeros, the Fuso, and the Arizona. And yeah, that was a pretty good salvo on the Bismarck. So my shells are not going to penetrate anything other than mainly his superstructure. I probably could get his bow and stern, but definitely not his deck. Definitely not his main belt or even his upper belt. So I've got to be aiming for the deck line to try to get any damage in and on the Bismarck. So one advantage of being bottom tier is you get more experience for doing damage to upper tier ships. So the fact that I completely deleted um, the Kagero at Bravo at the beginning of the match and putting pressure on this Bismarck, this is definitely helping me in terms of earning experience. Because again, I'm bottom tier ship doing damage to a top tier opponent. We do lose our Pensacola to the Bismarck, so yeah, there wasn't too much that he could do other than maybe try to sail south and try to stay in some concealment and work from range, but he may not have had that benefit. And again, this Bismarck keeps floating in and out of detection. Jimmy Jazz is going to head out to the east side of Charlie and try to get some visibility on him. He probably also has torpedoes ready. Again, another ping on the map from Jimmy Jazz. This Vladivostok, we're very confused by what he's doing. Our guess is that he went carrier hunting. The Vladivostok is not exactly a type of ship to go carrier hunting. And the Ryujo actually, the opposing Ryujo actually turns out to be a pretty skilled carrier player. So I think we can reasonably expect that he did not stay at spawn and has moved somewhere else, and we just haven't found out where he is. I did start firing on the Bayern. In fact, the Bayern is blind fired on me. Is he going to get hits on me? No, that was pretty close. That was a pretty good guess on my position. But my priority is actually going to be the Bismarck, and he does show back up here. And Jimmy Jazz is going to be sending some torpedoes, I think. And I'm going to be able to get some more salvos in here. Was hoping at this point the Bismarck was just going to leave the cap and we could grab it, but he starts slowing down again. And yeah, you can see some torpedoes from Jimmy Jazz on the Bismarck. I think he sends at least one of these two sets short in anticipation that the Bismarck might slow down or turn in. Ooh, I do take a little chip damage there from the Bayern. Good smoke firing. We do finally take down the Vesteros. That was originally at Alpha, so Vladivostok did accomplish something there. Again, I'm trying to get shots in at the belt line, midship of the Bismarck, because that's the main place where I'm going to do damage. Those torpedoes from Jimmy Jazz are looking pretty good. Yeah, this Bismarck is almost stationary, but he's remaining in the cap. And let's see, is he going to go down here? Yeah, again, those torpedoes look pretty good. Yeah, I think Jimmy Jazz is going to get the battleship. And yeah, he does go down, and that's going to allow us to grab the Charlie cap finally. So Jimmy Jazz and I are in here. But so, another place where we were confused by behavior was from our Cossack. Why isn't he in the cap, helping to get himself some experience points by taking the cap? He avoids the cap, I think. He doesn't even get into it before we cap it out. And then Jimmy Jazz and I are gonna head back down to Bravo to defend. Right now, we don't have too much of a threat because the Bayern that's up here on the north side is sailing away from the cap. The opposing carrier is not sending his planes over to us here at Charlie. And in fact, when I slip out from behind this island, our Cossack has started hydroacoustic search, and there's nothing in the area that could torpedo him. So, again, more confusion about what's going on here from some of these players. But Jimmy Jazz and I are going to head south towards Bravo to defend. And provided we can do that, we should be okay. Now, we've just barely have taken the lead. We do have a two-ship advantage, but we didn't really get the point lead till recently because the opponents had two caps. They had Alpha and Charlie for a long time, and only very recently, obviously, did we get Charlie from them. And we're going to start building up our point lead. And Jimmy Jazz and I are going to try to keep the Fuso and the Arizona, which were last seen at Alpha, from trying to contest Bravo. We also did finally detect the Ryujo, which, as expected, did move from his spawn point and is now on the north side, or last detected on the north side of the Alpha cap. Jimmy Jazz calls out to the Cossack and says, hey, if you want to go chase down that Bayern, you know, Bayern is slow. In fact, it's an Alpha hull Bayern, so it's going to be even slower than well, he might have the engine upgrade, but he's probably going to be pretty slow. And the Cossack's a reasonably fast destroyer. He could go and use speed boost, catch up with the Bayern, and finish him off with torpedoes. But he's not doing that, and we're just very confused by what he's doing. Now, I avoided a torpedo drop from the carrier. I was a little less concerned about the torpedoes because the alpha is pretty low. I was more concerned about being broadside, and maybe I should have taken one of the torpedoes potentially. So it was a little bit risky here because the Fuso and the Arizona should be able to fire on me. Their base range would be able to hit me when I was detected. And in fact, I've gotten detected again. The opposing carrier keeps going after our Bayern, or he had been, and it looks like he's now going to come either for Jimmy Jazz or myself. I'm detected here. I'm going to put up my... I'm trying to figure out where he's going to send his planes because I want to give Jimmy Jazz as much AA support as I can. Which takes a little bit of damage, not too bad. And I'm going to slip down here to the south side of the cap. Again, I got very briefly targeted there by one of the battleships. And, well, he targeted me and then he didn't target me. So, okay, so it's definitely the Arizona that's targeting me right now. And although he has now changed his target to the broadside Vladivostok, which is at my 3 o'clock position. I don't know. I'm not sure how much damage he took, but the Russian battleships, the Soviet battleships, are quite squishy broadside. So he has to be a little bit careful, but he's giving flat broadside to the Arizona. The Arizona has very good guns. I mean, they're 14-inch caliber guns, so they're not super large, but their accuracy is very good, and the penetration characteristics are very good. Now, this Arizona is also giving quite a bit of broadside to the Vladivostok and takes a fair amount of damage. Another salvo out towards the Vladivostok, even though I had been targeted. And now that I know that the Arizona had fired, I can slow here safely and use my smoke to get into some concealment, get some fire on the Arizona. So, back to our Cossack. What has he done? He went and he tucked himself into that same slot on the northeast corner of Charlie. I don't know why. Is this player afraid of carriers and they felt like they would be safe in that position? Here comes another salvo from the Arizona on the Vladivostok behind me. How is this going to fare? He's going to kill the Vladivostok. So we had a double ship advantage. We had 6 ships to their 3. We're now down to a 5-on-3 situation, although we have a very healthy lead. We're over 200 points. Our Bayern is venturing a little too close, I think, to some of the opposition. Ooh, there is Confederate. That's a nice achievement to get as a bottom tier ship in a match like this. Yeah, we just lost our Bayern to the Ryujo. I did mention that the opposing carrier did seem to be quite skilled. So now we have only a 1-ship advantage, but we still have a significant point advantage, and we're winding down to the last minute. And even if technically I were taken out by the Arizona, we would still have enough points to win because this Arizona never made any attempts to push out of the cap and challenge any of us at Bravo to give his team any chance to try to win this. Just kind of camping in Alpha. And he's going to creep back forward here as Jimmy Jazz is trying to get on his back flank and send some torpedoes. My smoke is expired. I've gotten lit by planes. The Arizona is going to target me here. Here comes that salvo, but I am going to use the very good maneuverability and acceleration of these Royal Navy light cruisers and avoid the salvo and get a little more chip damage in, and we're going to win on points. So, or when time expires anyway. So 101,000, 3 kills, Confederate, and first blood. A couple of caps under my belt. And get 2,500 base XP. So again, another good example why it's not such a bad thing to be bottom tier in a top tier game, or an up tiered game, I should say. So I hope everybody did enjoy the replay and the commentary. Please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there on the virtual seas, and we wish you happy sailing.